In civil litigation, the Constitutional Court is viewed as a fast track. Cases filed under the constitutional banner frequently move to the front of the line and offer sweeping remedies that standard courts cannot provide. This structural advantage creates a strong incentive for lawyers to dress up standard contractual or civil grievances as high-stakes human rights violations. When private claims masquerade as constitutional matters, they consume valuable judicial resources and threaten to clog the dockets of the highest courts. In Kenya, the High Court serves as the primary venue responsible for policing these boundaries and protecting its own jurisdiction. The foundational defense mechanism against this jurisdictional drift is a standard established back in 1979 during the case of Anarita Karimi Njeru. Without rigorous gatekeeping, the constitutional docket becomes a shortcut for standard litigation, diluting the court's ability to protect actual fundamental rights. To prevent this, the High Court relies on two procedural filters. The first is the requirement of pleading precision. The second is the doctrine of constitutional avoidance. These rules are actively used today by judges to evaluate incoming petitions and strike out those that fail the test. We can trace the application of these rules from a criminal appeal in the late 1970s directly to a commercial dispute decided in 2023. The foundational rule is clear. The High Court views the Constitution as a forum of last resort, open only when standard legal avenues are exhausted or entirely inadequate. The framework begins in 1979, against the backdrop of a high-profile criminal trial of a public servant in Kenya. Anarita Karimi Njeru, a former headmistress, was charged with stealing tens of thousands of shillings while employed in the public service. During her trial, the defense requested an adjournment to summon an auditor, a Mr. Masse. The magistrate refused to grant the delay. The trial proceeded. Njeru was convicted and sentenced. Her subsequent attempt to file an appeal out of time was rejected by the High Court. Facing a closed appellate door, Njeru pivoted. Her legal team filed a new application, seeking a declaration that the magistrate's refusal to grant the adjournment violated Section 77 of the Constitution, which guarantees reasonable facilities to procure witnesses. This attempt to use a constitutional claim to bypass a failed criminal appeal forced the High Court to explicitly define its jurisdictional boundaries. The court's primary critique of Njeru's application was its ambiguity. Her counsel cited multiple paragraphs of the Constitution without clearly linking them to specific facts. The court established a three-pronged test. First, an applicant must set out their complaint with reasonable precision. Second, identify the exact constitutional provisions allegedly infringed. Third, specify the precise manner those provisions were violated. Later courts, including the Court of Appeal, clarified that reasonable precision does not require mathematical exactitude. It simply ensures the court can apply its mind to the actual issues without having to guess the litigant's intent. Pleading precision acts as a prerequisite for justice. It forces constitutional litigation to remain focused on specific facts rather than procedural ambiguity. The court also dismissed Njeru's case for a second reason. She had failed to exhaust the standard legal actions available to her. The judges analyzed Section 84(1) of the Constitution, focusing on the clause allowing redress without prejudice to any other action with respect to the same matter which is lawfully available. The court interpreted this strictly. A person can apply for constitutional redress before, but not after they have utilized other lawfully available actions, like standard civil or criminal proceedings. Because Njeru had already sought a standard appeal regarding the magistrate's decision, the door to a constitutional reference on that exact same matter was closed. The judges cited the legal maxim, interest re publicae ut sit finis lithium. It is in the state's interest that litigation comes to an end. The Constitution does not operate as a backup plan for litigants who have already engaged and failed in the standard appellate process. Fast forward to 2023, and these same doctrines were tested in a modern commercial dispute, the Consumer Federation of Kenya versus Toyota Motors Corporation. The facts involved a customer who defaulted on a car loan, leading to the vehicle's repossession. The customer alleged the default happened because the vehicle had manufacturing defects. Instead of a standard product liability suit, petitioners cited the 2010 Constitution, attempting to frame the repossession as a constitutional breach. Applying the Anarita Karimi precision test, the High Court found the allegations insufficient. The petitioners cited constitutional articles, but failed to provide evidence demonstrating exactly how Toyota violated those specific rights. Applying the constitutional avoidance filter, the court noted that alternative forums, like civil and commercial courts, were perfectly adequate to handle a product liability dispute. The dismissal of the Toyota petition proves that the 1979 gatekeeping rules remain active tools for filtering out private contractual claims disguised as constitutional matters. The modern stance of the High Court is consistent. Constitutional jurisdiction exists to protect human rights, not to resolve disputes over contractual performance. When lawyers file a disguised dispute, styling a private claim as a constitutional petition for lower filing fees or an expedited hearing, the court rejects it. As articulated in cases like Mayaya Duty Free, parties must pursue the standard remedies available to them instead of rushing to institute constitutional petitions. By rejecting disguised disputes, the court protects its docket, ensuring time and resources are reserved for cases involving genuine human rights violations. The Anarita Karimi legacy operates as a structural necessity for a functional judiciary. Understanding this 40-year-old doctrine is required knowledge for anyone practicing constitutional law today. To be heard, a case must pass through the dual jurisdictional gatekeepers, the precision test and the avoidance test. Practitioners must clearly define the exact nature of the alleged infringement and verify that all other standard legal remedies have been exhausted before filing. Jurisdiction is conditional. To avoid summary dismissal, a petitioner must pinpoint the exact infringement and prove the standard legal path has reached its end. Only by meeting these requirements will a petition be heard on its merits.